This is CUNY TV, the City University of New York.
Hello, I'm Doug Muzzio. This is City Talk. He's a character, a throwback, a classic, a true American story. He's been one of a kind and probably the last of his breed. He's a man on the move, walking, dancing, horseback riding, and giving a little hip playing bocce. It was the forgotten borough, known for the ferry, the bridge, and the landfill. No more. It's happening. It's Staten Island, and he's James Molinaro. It's borough president for nearly the last dozen years, the only conservative ever elected to borough-wide office. Prior to serving as borough president, he served 12 years as deputy borough president under Guy Molinari, and before that was Guy's chief of staff in D.C. as congressman. Joining Jim and me is Ed Burke, the deputy borough president of Staten Island since 2006. Ed has been executive assistant to former borough president and Congressman Guy Molinari. Ed was an excellent master's student of mine at Baruch College. He first brought the borough president and me together over the 2010 charter revision. Welcome, Dr. Molinaro. Welcome, Ed Burke.
Thank you for the invitation.
Excuse me, Dr. Molinaro, you're now part of the exclusive class? Explain this to me.
I do various surgeries, so...
No, we're not going to...
I understand.
So you got the honorary PhD?
PhD, right, from Wagner, and also one from St. John's.
So you've got a double... you want to switch? What's the story with you? Okay, Ed, you've worked with the Molinaros, the Molinaris.
Right.
What has been your experience looking at it, first of all, as deputy borough president, and we'll talk about what it's like as borough president?
Absolutely. Well, Staten Island needs that kind of determined fighter spirit. We really do. We're just 5% of the population of New York. So both Guy and Jim just took the role of borough president and ran with it. The closure of the Fresh Kills landfill, you could say that's the most significant event in Staten Island the last 50 years. That completely emanated from the borough president's office.
Sure.
You know, he had the political relationship with Giuliani and Pataki, and he led the way for that. So, and Jim has had amazing success as borough president, revitalizing the boardwalk.
Sure.
You know, you've seen this boardwalk.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that, particularly the role of the borough president. Let's start with some contemporary stuff. What's the story with Sandy? The island got devastated, really got hammered. You were very angry at the powers that be, particularly the Red Cross. Talk to me about where we are, where the island is with Sandy.
Well, I think there's a lot of organization. In fact, we've been commended by FEMA and by people in Washington that we were the only borough of all the boroughs that had damage and devastation that were so well organized. So we've come back a long way, we've come back. But we have massive amount of destruction to repair. There's a massive amount of problems, and one of the problems is that even when you repair a house, now you have to lift it out of the flood zone. And we have about 11,000 of those homes. Wow. 11,000, that's a lot of homes that have been damaged. Some with few shingles, some completely devastated. We had 27 homes that disappeared today.
And you had deaths. I mean, it was
27
unbelievable.
Deaths. We had 25 to 27 deaths we had. So it was really a something which, number one, there was no book written for it, because it never happened to us before.
Right.
We were new at this. It happened. We woke up one morning, and there it was. What do we do? Where do we go? And I think what brought it all together was the community. The community, the cooperation between the community, helping each other. People that were flooded out, people that had no electric. 165,000 customers at Staten Island for electric. The following morning, there was 135,000 with no electric. So it was tremendous. It was just tremendous what took place there. But the community came together, helping each other, looking out for each other, searching homes, and searching for friends and family.
And you were very active. You were physically out there.
Yes, we were. We were on the ground. Our boots were on the ground, and from early in the morning to late at night.
You guys spoke to the president. I mean, there was almost a Christie-like element to it, your meeting with the president.
I believe it happened after my outburst about the Red Cross.
Talk about that. That was one of the great events in New York City history, your rant against the Red Cross. Go ahead.
People that know me know it's not my style. When
Not at all.
I ran with the door. When I rant, I do it with the door closed, and just myself and my deputies and other people. I don't do it publicly. But I was so frustrated. Here was the third day we were starting, and there was no help from no one, absolutely from no one, other than the community itself. So I went on a rage. Well, that brought results, obviously.
Well, you did it on national media.
Yeah, well,
you threw this fit. And it worked.
It worked.
It did. And you know what? It was typical Jim because he saw something and he had an emotional reaction. The day before, we were in a storm-ravaged neighborhood, and the women were serving soup to the rescue workers because no one else was feeding them. There was nothing there. So that was in his mind. The morning they had a press conference with Senator Schumer, right? And he just said what he felt.
And I mean, it was really powerful stuff because it wasn't planned, obviously. It was totally extemporaneous.
Yes.
And the anger was real. It wasn't fake. And then you got results.
Right. In fact, I think even Schumer was surprised. Senator Schumer, he looked at me at the tape, you know. I got results. Yes, that afternoon I received a call, and which I wasn't too happy about the call because the conversation was not, it was, in a sense, it was my fault that this happened. I didn't call to let people know that we had this problem. But I then ended the call, and in the afternoon I got a call from Gail McGovern, who was the head of the Red Cross, and she's in Washington. And she started the phone call by saying to me, we goofed. I says, fine, now let's go forward.
Right.
What can we do to help?
Right. And now your relationship is fine because you've done events with them, etc.
That's right. That's fine, going forward.
What about, one of your successes has been your relationships politically with both Mayor Bloomberg and now with Governor Cuomo. Talk about that relationship and the politics of that relationship, but also how it's specifically related to Sandy and other events on Staten Island.
Well, an incident with the governor. When I, 2 days later, when I went to Cooper Head, it was 2 days later, 3 days later.
It was the same day and then 2 days later again.
And 2 days later, so I was up there, and I gave my phone to my the young lady that was with me. I said, hold my phone while I'm being interviewed. And when I got back on the elevator, there was 3 calls made. I didn't recognize the numbers. So I went down, I got in my car, and the phone went off again, and it was the governor's office. And he said, Mr. President, the governor would like to put a conference call between the president and yourself. Obviously, they heard about the Red Cross.
Sure.
All right. So he got on. I said, Mr. President, I need help. I need help desperately. I says, I have people missing. I have people dead. I have homes that have collapsed and so forth and so on. He says, you'll have it in the morning. By tomorrow morning, you'll have help.
Did you?
Next morning, I get out of the shower. It's 5:30, 6 o'clock. The phone rings. I answer the phone. The gentleman introduces himself. His name is Pat Hernandez. He says, I'm the head of FEMA. I've been sent to Staten Island. He says, I'm under your control.
Wow.
He says, I'm at Borough Hall.
Whoa.
I'm at Borough Hall waiting for you. I get down there. There was 27 of them. We actually put cots in Borough Hall.
Yeah.
They slept in Borough Hall for a month.
Oh, wow.
On cots. We became very friendly with them. In the afternoon, the governor called me. He says, I'm sending down 500 National Guard. He said, I told the commander, he's under your command. Whatever you need them for. I said, we need for search and rescue.
Sure.
For body. He says, fine, whatever you need them for. And it just kept moving.
Wow.
Moving. My outburst on television, what it also did, I had made a partnership with the Talented Towers Foundation, and of course I don't have a 5013. We raised $4 million in 10 days.
Wow.
From all over the country. Some came from Australia. People sending checks. And that was the results. Trailer load after trailer load of goods. And I called up my good friend Jimmy Devine from the container terminal, and he gave me a warehouse. The trailers were going up there, and we were dispatching. We had so many supplies that I sent them out to Rockaway. I sent them out to Rockaway. I said, no more trailers. Send them to Rockaway. I have so many supplies. An incident. I was on television that morning after the incident with the Red Cross, and the reporter asked me, what do you really need? I said, right now what I really need is underwear. I need underwear. Fruit of Loom, sends me 600,000 pairs of underwear.
And you have 400,000 of them at Borough Hall.
No, I only have 480,000 people.
Right.
But every kind.
Well, you get an extra one.
Every kind, from infants.
I gave him a brief on it.
Oh, no!
I'm sorry.
Good, Ed.
No,
Oh.
but it's good you brought that up, because the Borough President's office became a focal point after the storm. And suddenly we realized that people couldn't get back to their houses. If they got back in their houses, if they had power, they could really begin to start their lives again.
Sure.
So the Borough President and Council Molinaro came up with a strategy, and they called it Quick Start. And all this simply did was get some private sector electricians to join with Con Edison. Usually it was just a quick assessment of the box,
Right.
be repaired, and boom, hundreds
And
of
it
people.
did it fast.
Yes.
Fast, right. And so that was a great bit of help, and that shows the you say he's got a doctorate and he's the smartest man in the room in many of these meetings. It's common sense.
Right.
That really
right.
he brings to the
okay,
table.
let's move from sort of the on the ground to the more theoretical and conceptual. The role of the borough presidents. I mean, guy comes in after charter revision, after the Board of Estimate is done away with because of the voting system, and the borough president's powers are dramatically reduced. Talk about the role of the borough president as you see it. What powers do you have in the charter, and what powers do you really exercise?
Okay, let's go back a step.
Wow.
What should be done, which is not going to be done, is the borough presidents and the mayor should have the Board of Estimate again on a weighted vote.
Well, they could have, but they decided not to do it the first
but
time.
they could have it.
Yes.
It would hold
yes.
up as a weighted vote.
Yes.
That would work as well. Why do I say that? You have to realize we have almost 9 million people in New York City. Just think of the number, 9 million people. There's only 10 states in America that have more than 9 million people.
Right.
That's an enormous amount of...
You would be what, the 90th largest city in the United States if you were separate, or whatever the number is.
Staten Island would be the
Yeah.
35th
Oh,
largest.
35th. I'm sorry.
35th.
Forget
Cleveland or
90th.
Miami.
Oh, and I'd rather be in Staten Island than
So
Cleveland.
the idea is there is too much of a population for a central office to run.
Sure.
It has the power has to be distributed. It has to be distributed. And the best way to distribute is to give each borough president more powers. And it can be done. It can be done with a charter revision. It can be done without taking any powers away from the city councilman. Remember, the city council handles one portion of Staten Island. I got
Right.
3 city councilmen, they handle one portion. I handle the whole island.
Right.
Marty Markowitz handles 2.5 million people.
I know. The 4th largest city in the United States.
It's crazy.
No, well, I agree with you. I
It's
mean,
crazy.
clearly I wrote a report arguing
It's
strengthening
crazy
the
that
borough
he should
president.
have to depend on this gentleman who's a low-level office manager someplace to get a street paved. That's ridiculous. He should have the power to pave it. This is your budget. Pave your streets.
So you need more money.
Well, no, you need the power to do it.
Okay.
The money comes with the power. They can't
Okay.
give you the power without the money. You need more discretion of what you're doing. No one knows their borough better than the borough president. No one. The mayor knows the whole city. The whole city gets pulled from one side and pulled from the other side. But the borough presidents need more power if it's to work effectively. We created a system on Staten Island, which is a whole hand system. The charter gives you the right to have a meeting, which a borough improvement, they call it a borough improvement board, once a month.
Right.
Right. I haven't had one in 11 years.
Because you don't need it.
They're useless.
Right.
They're useless. This is what a borough improvement board does. The borough boards, figuring all the complaints, they mail them in. Every agency sends somebody. Every agency.
I know, I've been in these
Every
meetings.
agency. The people that come to it, they don't even know where the address is. They have no authority. And you sit there for 2.5, 3 hours and say nothing. People just talk to each other.
You sound frustrated.
Yes. So I said, no more. We have what they call a borough service, a borough meeting with the police department, if the police department is needed at that meeting. But it's the city planning, Department of Transportation, Department of Parks, and the building department.
Which really are
and
the
fire
4
department.
agencies that
Absolutely.
really
That's right.
affect
That's
you
right.
as a borough.
You want to build a building, you need the Department of Park, you need the Department of City Planning, you need the Department of Buildings, you need the fire department for access in and out. So those are the ones you need. But I have a deputy commissioner there. He makes a decision right then and there. Yes, you can do that. No, you can't do it. I'll bring him back to the shop and we'll let you know in a month from now.
Right.
It doesn't work that
Right.
way. And it works beautiful.
Sure.
Every 2 weeks, we have
bring it into
a
real
service
terms.
cabinet meeting. Every 2 weeks, we have a service cabinet meeting.
Well, you're in a sense, I mean, they're almost, I mean, maybe I'll talk to you about this, Ed, that there are different models for borough presidents. There's the sort of the Scott Stringer policy wonk, very macro-oriented, but does work with the boards. And then you've got Marty Markowitz, both cheerleading and developing. And you are, I mean, it's almost like Al D'Amato, you know, borough president pothole,
Yeah.
which is an on-the-ground sort of infrastructure guy.
Sure. Well, look at the street on the South Shore that was built too narrow for a fire truck to get down.
Right.
Yeah.
And this technical review meeting caught that.
Yeah.
The hydrant in the middle of the street.
The hydrant in the middle of the street is the best.
And, you know, so the borough president is closer to the ground and sees these things and gets them done. And then there is that bigger policy. Like the borough president said, we don't have a senior retirement village in the city of New York. Our seniors are moving out of state in droves. This is what we need. So it goes from these big picture policy issues
Sure.
to the little items on the street.
Sure, sure. Okay, let's talk a little. Go ahead, Jim.
Good. No, what I want to say is the city government doesn't function in collateral response to each other, the agencies. They don't. They fight each other. It's a continuous fight.
Which people don't realize the intra-bureaucracy battles that go
See,
on.
I have situations in Staten Island no other borough has.
You would.
The mayor doesn't know about this. He does not know about this, you know. And the borough president of Brooklyn doesn't know about this. My streets are now widened to their full width. I have 5% of the population and 18% of all the cars that are registered in New York City are registered in Staten Island. Just think of that, 268,000 cars are registered in Staten Island. That's 18%.
Right.
Okay.
That's it. Well, because it's suburban.
Okay, yeah, okay, but you can't move. Now, for me to put a right turn lane on the corner, you know what it takes?
No.
Going through the process, 8 to 12 years.
To make a right turn?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So
No, I
absolutely.
believe you.
So 2 terms is not sufficient, really. You know?
Wait, you need 3 terms.
So what do? I dispatch my deputy. I says, change the goddamn system. Go ahead and change it. He changed it. I says, if you run into trouble, I have to make a call, I'll make it. But he's well known this, and he changed it. Now it takes 3 to 4 years. Still a long time, but it's 1/3. 1/3.
Sure.
That's what you can do.
What have you seen in your 12 years with him and then with Guy before in terms of change in city government, sort of as a student of government as well as a practitioner?
Well, I think it is more of a business model. You've got to make decisions that make some sense. What's the impact on the people? Don't make decisions that are going to make it impossible to do business in the small businesses. And also the heart. I see Jimmy and how he relates to people with special needs and children with autism.
Yeah, that's go ahead.
I have to tell you a story. We were at an event, and Jim saw this young man in a wheelchair really having words with his parents. And as we were all walking away, Jim was the only one who walked over to them and said, what's going on? And it turns out this young man wanted to meet a celebrity who was at this event. Jim said, come on, I'll introduce you to him. And he walked him right through the crowd, and he made that young man's day.
Sure.
Special needs man, because
Sure.
he's got the heart to do it.
Yeah, he's like a member of the. You're like a member of the family.
Yeah, and here's the policy that comes out of it. With our capital budget, we built parks. We were building playgrounds. The special needs community, one family in particular said, my daughter can't play in this playground. There's no handicap accessible equipment. Every single playground he's built since then has had handicap accessible play equipment. And it's a simple thing, but it's so meaningful to people.
Sure.
And it comes from like the heart, being able to have the policy discretion, and then those relationships you build in government.
Well said. Thank you. It worked.
It worked.
15 years ago, it worked.
You're a good professor.
Oh, 2013 mayoral politics. You came out very strongly for Chris Quinn, to the dismay of, as the only borough-wide conservative, and someone who is respected in not only in that community, but in, you know, other people's way of thinking. Why Chris Quinn? What's the argument?
Well, let's start off with this idea that the only conservative bill. The Conservative Party didn't elect me. There's only 4,800 conservatives in Staten Island.
So you Democrats elected you too.
And Republicans.
Yeah.
So I mean, so I'm not known up there as the conservative.
Right.
Who's against this, against that.
Right.
You know, I was hired for 4 years by 500,000 people to improve their quality of life. So I try to spend my 4 years improving their quality of life, no matter what. That's what I have to do. They said to me, you know, we have to get to work Monday morning. We want a bus in front of my door to take me to work so I can pay taxes to pay your salary. So do it for me. So that's right. That's my job. That's what I look at. That's my job, okay? Now, with Quinn. Quinn has always been there. For 8 years, when I needed help, I went to Quinn. She always answered the phone. She always called back. She always helped me. With my budget especially. She always helped me. She never refused to help me. Way before she thought about running for mayor in the first year of her first term as a speaker. She was there for me. So if I could help her, why not? But when she was helping me, she was helping 500,000 people on Staten Island. So she's good for Staten Island. That's what I got to look at.
Right.
I'm the borough president of Staten Island.
Right.
I'm not the borough president of the Bronx or Brooklyn.
Right.
So that's what I got to do. So I asked.
So really, you're really doing it on a very non-ideological basis. It's essentially what you can do for my community, and she's delivered.
Look,
the Republicans still weren't happy, though, were they?
When she got married, she invited 3 people from Staten Island to our wedding. There was Jimmy Otto, myself, and Fred Cirillo. You know?
Right.
So, I mean, that's the relationship we had.
Right.
So why wouldn't I? Shouldn't I endorse her? You know? I'm friendly with her father. We've had many dinners on Staten Island.
Oh, you two are characters. Oh, my God.
So that's it. So I think that she'd be great for the city. I think she'd be great for Staten Island. And I support her. I mean, I don't see any difficulty with that.
Okay. Talking about the next regime, you're leaving after 12 years. The presumption is that Jimmy Otto not only runs, who's now the minority leader of the council, not only runs, wins the Republican primary, but becomes borough president. Now, what's likely to change? What isn't likely to change? One of the things that's not going to change is what, Ed?
Well, that on the ground, getting very involved in the local level and a hardworking, dedicated person. That's Jimmy Otto, just like Jim Molinaro. They're on top of everything. I mean, 100 issues at a time.
And you're going to be with him?
Well,
I understand that, maybe?
Jim Otto's a great friend, and I admire him very, very much.
He would be wise to have that much experience as his deputy.
You could not take him. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I think the world of Jimmy Otto, and he's going to just continue a lot of these great programs and find a new one. Every borough president brings to the table their own initiatives, their own priorities, and that's good for the borough.
Yeah. Okay. See, on the borough presidency, the comment I want to make, I've been borough president for 4,500 some odd days. I've been borough president.
You don't have the exact count?
No. I lost
close. You lost count.
So I can tell you honestly that there was not one day in those 4,500 some odd days that I regretted being borough president.
Wow, that's pretty good.
There was never a day I got up and said, oh, I got to go back to that office again. I enjoyed every day. During my family crisis and everything else that happened, I enjoyed every day.
Did you enjoy him every day?
Every day.
Every day.
He's
no, this is a love fest.
No, it really is. No. And I'll tell you something, maybe that is rare, maybe not rare. I've worked not so much for a borough president, but for a friend.
Oh.
He's a great friend, and we support each other, and that's made it a particular pleasure.
Good.
Because in government, there's a lot of frustrations, trying to get things done, trying to create an intersection improvement. In 9 years, it gets you down. But then it's the good things you're able to do, the parks and the schools.
You take 11 years, I'm there. I haven't taken 11 weeks vacation in 11 years. Taken less than that.
Because you're a worker, you love it.
I love it.
You love it. I mean, watching you dancing with the women, playing bocce and all that stuff.
Yeah, I love the kids. Last Thursday, my chief of staff comes in and says there's a gentleman outside wandering the hallway with his grandchild, and I happen to go out the hallway and he asked, is there any possibility of my grandchild meeting the borough president? It was Joey. I said, come in. They came in and we took photographs. I put behind my desk. We took pictures.
You didn't invite me.
Well, you wanted in the hallway walking around.
Excuse me.
You wanted in the hallway walking around.
That's a great borough hall, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Last couple of minutes. Accomplishments. What is Jim Molinaro's legacy?
Okay, I tell you my proudest accomplishment.
Go ahead.
My proudest accomplishment. On the vote, the tie, breaking the tie in social promotions on the Board of Education, on the PEB board. I have a representative there, and it was tied, and I broke it, eliminating.
You got hammered for that one.
Hammered. An improvement of 60% for children graduating high school. where the state only has a percentage of 10%. It worked. It worked. If a child is in 3rd grade and he's doing 1st grade work and you're promoting him to the 4th grade, you're not doing that child any favor.
Okay, what else besides education?
Well, I think that, but the promises I made to the community, that I would single out seniors. I would single out children with handicaps and children, not children with handicaps, but people with handicaps and children, because they're our future. I think I've lived up to that commitment. I've got computers in every school on Staten Island.
Yeah, interesting.
I built many libraries in the school. Every senior development, senior housing project in Staten Island in the last 20 years, I was part of. Either I helped finance, or I helped get it done, or I fought the community against it. Those two, I did that. With children with handicaps, I've given millions and millions of dollars. I've built schools for them. I built playgrounds for them. So I took care of that. And children themselves. There's 5 schools that were built, 2,500 more seats we have in Staten Island. So I've lived up to my commitment. They hired me to do something, and I said to the community, if you hire me, this is what I'm going to work on. I think I lived up to my end of the bargain.
I'll just add the South Beach Boardwalk, because it ties in everything that you've talked
Go
about.
ahead.
The city government for decades wasn't doing anything to address the fact it was a burnt-out shell, and it was a vagabond place. And Jim himself said, I have an idea. We're an island, we should have a waterfront that's accessible. And he got the partnership with the community, with the Staten Island Advance, and with the Parks Department and the city government. And it's beautiful now. So you can see it before and after in Jim Molinaro's career. The boardwalk before, the boardwalk now, and that is his accomplishment.
At the future of Staten Island, you're likely to be involved in Staten Island government. What would you recommend to the next borough president?
Well, it's this very difficult balance between progress, development, new opportunities, and keeping Staten Island small town USA, keeping that character, keeping this mosaic of parks that people really like, and keeping that small town character. So the more we can bring business to Staten Island, and Staten Islanders don't have to commute elsewhere, the more that we can become our own place with our own destiny.
And we'll talk to you about that. My thanks to Staten Island Borough President James Molinaro for being on the show, and to Ed Burke, his Deputy Borough President. For more information on Staten Island, go to their website, statenislandusa.com. See you next week here on CUNY TV. Gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Doug Muzzio. Let us know what you think about this show. You can reach us at CUNY.TV. When you get there, click on the bar that says Contact Us and send your email. Whatever it is. Thanks, no thanks, obnoxious, do it. Send it.